Hello, welcome to Nice Moves. For those unfamiliar with Nice Moves, we are a animation oriented organization, and that includes visual effects, traditional animation, entertainment animation. I think I said visual effects already. Motion graphics. Um, and we're based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we just want to make sure that animators in Minneapolis and the surrounding regions feel like they have a place to go when they are going a bit crazy, as I am. Uh, Cause I so it's me, Emory Allen, your host. Uh, See right there, that's my name, very big because I'm the host this evening. But you also might notice my name right there, a little smaller because I will be the presenter this evening as well. Um, and I try to keep these meetups as an escape from the real world because the real world is very incredibly heavy. But the weight of it is it's a bit much to bear sometimes. Because Kenosha, Wisconsin, is my hometown. It is where I lived for many years. I want to say from 8th grade until I graduated college. So whatever the math is on that, I can't do that math right now. Um, so to see the same thing happen again is pretty atrocious. I'm saying a lot because I actually didn't think I was going to start off this meeting by talking about this, but uh, Minneapolis is my hometown now. It's what I consider my hometown, and to live through atrocious again. I'm going to that word. Sorry, I'm not being very articulate right now. To see that happen again to my first hometown where my dad and my stepmom and my little brother still live. It's, like I said, the weight of it is a lot. And I don't really know what to say other than Black Lives Matter, and this needs to stop. I don't know what to do about it, unfortunately. I don't know what to do about it as an organization like Nice Moves because I know I could have done better trying to get a diverse, a more inclusive lineup for these monthly meetings and for our spotlights. Okay, I truly don't know what to say about it, so I'm going to move on and try to have fun, I guess. So yeah. Welcome to Nice Moves. Let's start again with a welcome and a chuckle. Welcome to Nice Moves. We are an organization that, focuses on lifting up the animation community here in the Twin Cities and surrounding regions. And by animation, I mean motion graphics, VFX, Um, Entertainment animation, anything that you can think of where you're like, is that animation? The only thing you have to consider is, does it move? Then yes, it's animation. I guess live action can be animation. That does fall under our purview sometimes when VFX are involved. Oh, I'm kind of loud, aren't I? I'm kind of loud. Okay, there we go. Um, when VFX are involved, uh, where, as nowadays, VFX is pretty much involved in every shot of a live action anything. So, it's really weird being the host and the guest. Because I usually like try to move things on so that we can get to someone else. But we're just getting on to me. There is no one else to get on to. Unless our president, Alicia Reese, wants to say hi. See a hand? No face? That's our president. Uh, Logan Hamongo says, I am animation. Yes, Logan, you are animation. Alicia's animation. We are all animation. We are all in this together because we are all crazy people that have decided to sit behind computers for 12 hours a day. But not crazy in a bad way. Crazy in a good way. It takes a certain personality to commit themselves to this thing. Anyway, let's go on because the past couple months I haven't had news. I think that's what it is. I've gotten used to stretching. But we actually do have news this month. People are holding events again, and it's great. I think people have finally kind of wrapped their heads around what it takes to host a virtual event in COVID times. So, first bit of news is Television has a Twitch stream now. If you're not familiar with Television, go to televisiontelevision.com and check out all the. It's like a free animation zine. It's basically a half hour to an hour long of animation free for all. There we go. That's a good explanation. But now they're doing weekly Twitch streams where they interview people that have been involved in television in some capacity, whether it's contributing animation or someone they just admire or stuff like that. And they're local. And they actually start at 7 p.m. every Wednesday. So I am cutting into their time, not on purpose, because we were here first. They just started 2 weeks ago. And we've been doing this for 4 months. So that's on them. Anyway, next bit of news. Minanimate. Minanimate is a local animation festival that focuses on independent animation. Founded by John Aker. It has been going for, I believe this is the 9th year. Yes, it is. And that is on September 10th. It's going to be a virtual event. Normally, you would go to St. Anthony, Maine, and check out the stuff there. But even though theaters are open, I highly recommend you do not go. Even though I want to see Tenet extremely badly, I am going to stay home because I don't want to die. And I don't want to kill other people either. I can watch a Christopher Nolan movie on my TV just fine. Anyway, we're talking about Minanimate. That's going to be virtual, and they don't have details yet, but check back next week for more details on where to live stream it and maybe how to participate. I don't know. But they have a full lineup here. Lots of good stuff from students and independent animators as well. and it's all local stuff. So if you want to know what your local independent animators are up to, check Minanimate out. Next up is Pictoplasma 2020. This is it's kind of a character based conference slash festival, and by character I mean like fun characters like Jeremyville or Adventure Time, things that are very character driven, that's about character design and having just thinking about personified things in a more expansive, colorful, exciting way. This is normally a festival that's held in Berlin every year, and I think 5 years in they have an offshoot one that's in New York, but both of those are canceled, and now it is online. And the best part is it's free. It's free. You don't have to fly to Berlin. You can check out all these awesome talks by incredible people like Dan Woodger, Cyrus Kabiru, sorry if I mispronounced that, and all these other people that do amazing character-based work. They're not necessarily animators, but I know Julian Glander is and Mary Lou, but they do have screenings. So they have a full program of, where is it? They do have a full program of animation. So this would be very like vibrant character-based animation from around the world. It was highly competitive this year. I know a couple people that didn't get in, myself included. But don't hold a grudge. Just use that as a sort of motivator to push yourself, to hold your to be able to play in the big leagues, I guess. Not that these are big leagues. Everybody's friends. We're all friends. It's not competitive. But yeah, Pictoplasma, really fun, and these talks. They in the past, when they've put these talks online, they've put them behind a paywall, but not this year. All free, completely free. Check it out. Oh, Janelle Van Sloun says that SIGGRAPH 2020 is online as well. I don't have a slide prepared for that, so we won't be talking about that, unfortunately. But we will be talking about Adobe Max. It's another one of those conferences that you have to travel to and spend a bunch of money on entrance fees to get your badge or what have you. But this year, you guessed it, it's free and it's online. This will be from October 20th to the 22nd. You can register now, and I'm sure you get a bunch of stuff. I will be honest with you all, I didn't really do my research on this one because I've never been, and I'm not sure I'm going to go this year. Go, quote unquote. But I should at least register because it's free. I'm sure they talk about, what do they talk about at Adobe Max? I'll give the chat a second to catch up. Has anyone in the chat been to Adobe Max? I'm sure they have. But that's not what we came here for, is it? Just giving the chat one more second. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure Adobe Max will be amazing. It's just the thing that I know the least about. Okay, well, that's exciting because the past 4 months we've had 0 pieces of events coming up. And then this month, bam, 4 events. That's like making up for one each month. That's great. I actually am really excited that a lot of these things are free and online now, because Nice Moves, we always ensure that our stuff is free and available for everybody that wants to attend, because education is such an important part of growth and becoming better. Um, so if I, kind of poo-poo things here or there, don't listen to me. I'm just a cranky old guy that is having a hard week. So just go to Max, go to Pictoplasma, go to Minanimate, check out Hellivision every week. Just stay involved. Even though we're indoors, we can stay involved. Um, that's something I've been thinking about these past couple months, is that going outside is important because it gives us these like external reward feelings. And by that I mean we draw something and we take it to somebody else, and when they tell us it's good, then we feel it's good, right? So a lot of growth is driven by these external factors. And when I'm saying this, I'm not accusing anyone. I'm strictly speaking from personal experience. Some of my biggest jumps in my career have come from other people telling me what's good or what's bad from what I've made. And it is very strange to have it these past few months be more on me to make those judgment calls of what's good and what's bad. So I'm really trying to take this opportunity of COVID to turn inward and examine what it is that I think success means to me. And full disclosure, I am very fortunate to have a great job where I don't have to worry about how to pay bills and things. Like, I feel very safe. So I have the time to think about these more internal motivations. And dude, I'm just talking about all the difficult stuff tonight, aren't I? What else should we talk about? But yeah, it's because I'm closed off and I feel safe. I'm able to turn inward and find out what it is that drives me. Let's transition to this frame. And by thinking a little bit more about what drives me and my work is what kind of got me to really come up with and refine the idea tree. See how I made that transition from host to presenter? Was that smooth or what? No? I agree. So this is actually, the idea tree is something I have been thinking about for years, because after Deskercise became a hit, I had no idea that it was going to be as popular as it was. And that's what I was talking about earlier, about how I had relied on these external factors to tell me what's good or bad. So, see, I didn't plan this part of the talk. That's why I'm saying so and a lot again. So, now that I'm inside, locked in my house with the president of Nice Moves, she does give me very valuable advice. But it's really obnoxious of me to keep asking her, is this good? Is this good? Is this good? So, it's kind of forced me to kind of think about these things a little bit on my own. So, let's transition to our main presentation, the idea tree. Oh, wait, I gotta say it while we're transitioning. The idea tree. This is, like I mentioned, it's an idea I've kind of been thinking about a lot since Deskercise. Uh, and then even more so after Her Mother's Eyes and Beach Bods and all these projects where people, I'm trying not to sound like a jerk of like bragging about myself, but people, they did land with people, and we at Flora and Fauna, we got projects based on the strength of those things, and people came to us because they liked how we think. And that is something that has always kind of confounded me because I never thought about how I think until recently when I really tried to nail this down. So, the idea tree. What is it? It's a metaphor. It's not a real tree. Despite what you see in this image here, you can't just walk up to this idea tree and pluck an idea out of it and be good. Unless there is a real idea tree out there, please let me know and we can end this talk right now. We can all just rush there. Whoever gets there first gets the good ideas. But this talk is not about some real idea tree that may or may not be out there. This is about a process that I use, that I have discovered that I use, because when I was using it, I didn't know that I was using it, if that makes sense. The idea tree is a tree from which you harvest ideas. Some people have a lot of ideas, as you see on the right here. Some people have very few ideas, as you see on the left. And the people with few ideas just kind of look on in awe as they wonder, how come that person's tree has so much more fruit than mine? No, that is not the idea tree. That is not how it works. It is not some magical thing that you just walk up to and collect ideas from. From seed to fruit, the idea tree is a process for discovering and refining a single idea. One idea. So, what I'm about to describe, you have to do this every single time. And I will tell you, you're not going to be good at it at first. I wasn't. I didn't even know I was doing it. So how could I be good at it? The more you do this, though, the better you're going to get at it. Just like running or fighting social injustice. You're not going to know what you're doing at first, but you will get better the more you do it. Yeah. I got a yeah from Alicia. Okay, so this is the first step, the seed. You start without details. You don't start with some grand idea, some big plan. You just start with the smallest thing that has the least amount of details possible. Because you see here, the seed, it is not a tree, but it does contain the concept of a tree, if you follow my meaning. So for Deskercise, I didn't start thinking, oh, I'm going to make a 48-second long animation that has 12 shots and this is every shot. No. I started with, hey man, my body kind of hurts sometimes when I'm at a desk. That is very few details. The only detail is that hurt at desk. That's it. Next step is the roots. From your seed come all your roots. So you want to give yourself a lot of options. Like a lot. The more roots you have, the better chance you have at getting the nutrients you need. Now, what are these roots? These are any scrap any whisper of an idea, any speck of dust, any dust mote that can grow into a mighty dust bunny. Um, this is just anything that you can think of that is sparked from your initial seed. So if we start from desker size, we have back hurt, right? Body hurt. At desk hurt, I think that's what I said. So here, you would just write down anything that you can think of that sort of relates to that. So you might write table, because a table is kind of like a desk. In fact, my desk right now is our dining room table. For hurt, you might write down, broken bone, or yoga, or rehabilitation, or you can just go on and on like this. It's just giving yourself lots of options. You just want to write down as many things as quickly as you can, because the next part is the hard part. And that is the trunk. This is your core. You need a strong core, because this trunk is going to carry your entire animation, your entire idea. Without a solid trunk, your tree is going to collapse. So you take every little scrap of something that you got from the roots, you find something in there that intrigues you the most. What is that? Whoa, I had some
notebook lines.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Television is interrupting me. Where is it? Boop. Okay, they're gone. My bad, people. Okay. So, you take all these little scraps, which are nothing, right? They are the dust motes, like I said. And you want to sort of find which one is capable of growing into the mighty trunk. And that can be a combination of things. I mentioned yoga because that is actually something that inspired desker size. And, sitting at your desk all day, that like all day could have been another one of these little things. Stretching. So stretching really became the trunk of desker size, because the character is just stretching everywhere, right? I hope you all have seen desker size, because if not, me continually referencing it is gonna sound insane. Anyway, so now you have a nice strong core. How do you get that core to grow? Fertilizer. A good mix will give you good growth. Now in fertilizers, these three numbers are NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Thank you. But in animation or any other creative endeavor, it is research, inspiration, and observation. And what I have here are different percentages of what you'll need of those things in order to make your idea really grow. Sometimes you'll need more research. Sometimes you'll need more inspiration. For example, on desker size, observation was huge for me because it was, about me sitting at a desk all day. And the research I did on that was pretty minimal. It was basically just trying to find pictures of cubicles, which cubicles are cubicles, and then inspiration, for me personally, on every project, that one is pretty high, because I like to kind of stretch outside of my own bounds, and I find one of the best ways to do that is to find work that really inspires you from other people. And I feel like copying, it can happen. It definitely does happen. But if you're using your tree trunk and you're using someone else's work as inspiration, when you combine them into your thing, it is filtered through you. So the worry about copying becomes not as worrisome. Again, not feeling very articulate tonight. So, um, yeah, don't worry about stealing, because just the fact that you're worried about stealing means that you're not going to steal. You're going to make sure that you put your own spin on it. Boop. Next one, the branches. The branches will give you a rough layout for what the tree will eventually look like. So this is like character design sketches, a rough layout of what your scenes are. This is going to be your animatic. This is rough animation. It's everything that is there, but is not necessarily seen by the end viewer. It's all the work. It's all the, I was going to say groundwork, but it's like kind of in the sky because it's a tree. So it's kind of like tree work that will give you the roadmap. I'm mixing too many metaphors now. Yeah, branches, they hold your leaves. Speaking of which, the leaves, give it form. This is what it starts to look like. There are a wide variety of leaves and shapes. Yours will depend on the tree you have. That just means don't worry about yours not looking like your inspiration or not looking like the thing that someone else did, because this is your tree. This is your idea. It's your trunk. It's your seed. It is going to look like what it needs to look like. And that's all I can really, because I guess for her mother's eyes, it's a square with some noise around it because, and I hope you all have seen Her Mother's Eyes too, or this is going to sound crazy. It's just a square with a bunch of noise around it because I didn't want to draw a full scene. I wanted it to feel more like a comic because I had limited time. And that ended up being one of the things that a lot of people really liked about it, is that it felt like a small comic strip inside of an animation. Boop. And now we're on to the fruit. This is the metaphorical fruit of your labor. This is the product of all your careful thought and hard work. This is the finished shot. This is the composed, beautiful, moving image that all this stuff has been leading up to. Not much to say there other than beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So like Honeycrisp is my favorite apple, but some people like Granny Smith. Next slide. Finally, the harvest. This is where you gather all your fruit, you put it together, and you see what you got. Sometimes some of those pieces of fruit are bad. So you got to take them out or it's going to spoil the whole thing. You might have a shot that just doesn't hold up to the other shots. So you can either, shine that apple a little bit and hope for the best, or you can remove it and know that your harvest is all the much stronger for it. And boop, that's it. That's the idea tree. Thank you and happy planting. It's a pretty short one because I find that brevity is the soul of wit. I've heard that somewhere. Or it's just an excuse for me not putting that many slides and descriptions in it. But I will put this PDF online eventually, probably tomorrow when the video is done processing, so that we can share it and everybody can have this tree toolbox to work from. I think the part that I actually find that most people have the trouble, that people have the most trouble with, is the roots, is this idea of just writing things down rather than just trying to jump straight to the trunk and start making stuff. We're very restless as a species, just humans as a whole. They want to move. They want to do something, and that's why part of the reason why COVID has been so hard, because we're stuck inside and we got to go, 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 go. But I urge you, do not jump to the trunk. The trunk needs to be strong, because if your idea is great, a lot of what comes after that, if it's not up to par with, let's say, a Pixar or something, people still connect to it. Because not only are we restless, we are an emotional species. We are drawn to things that really connect to our daily existence, which is another thing that I didn't realize when I made Deskercise, is that I was purely just drawing from my imagination, my daily experience. And it wasn't until I released it that, oh, a lot of people connect to this because this is their experience too. Their body desk hurt. And I was able to capture that in a very short animation. Do all the shots look great? No. I'll be the first to tell you, I wish I could draw better or animate better. But that trunk, you know, when people hug trees, they don't hug the leaves. They don't hug the fruit. They hug the trunk. Am I right? I should add that that metaphor to this because I just thought of it right now. Yes, people hug the trunk of the tree. Oh, man. I wish Alicia was here. I'm sure she would be standing and applauding right now. But yeah. Okay. So this is our cat. Okay, hold on. I gotta... Boop. Yay! Welcome, Nice Moves honorary board member Wanda. The chat is gonna blow up. So yeah, we can call it there. We can call it a night. If you feel like you get it, and I hope you get it, because I really tried to make this easy to digest. Or we can kind of go through this and do a sort of live exercise of plugging in some stuff. Like if you all give me a very broad idea. Group idea, tree. Wanda is Nice Moves mascot confirmed. Or we can just do a Q&A. Like we normally do. I don't know why I didn't just do that one first. Because we normally do a Q&A at this point.
Oh, I have a question.
Let's do a Q&A because I see a question in here. Derek Loftus asks, once you have loads of ideas in the roots, how do you decide what is worth keeping to become the trunk? That is a very good question. Um, and that one is largely subjective. Uh, it's not always going to be obvious which is the trunk. So that's where the metaphor falls apart a little bit because, in a real plant for a tree, you would get a tap root, which is like the biggest root. Am I right? Alicia, do you get a tap root? The tap root is like the thickest root, right?
Yeah, it's the one that goes down to
Yeah.
like drink water.
Um, so maybe I should find one. Maybe I should find a way to describe
Keeps the tree stable.
figuring out what the tap root is. Because the taproot and the trunk are kind of one and the same. But yeah, it's I think it's a matter of writing out a bunch of stuff and then taking a step back and then kind of discovering which of those ideas or combination of scraps of ideas excite you the most. And this is a process that can take a while. It doesn't have to happen immediately after you write 5 things down. Often, what I'll do is write a list of like 20 words, walk away, take a shower the next day, in the morning, and then I'll come down and I'll actually have thought of something that is not related to those 20 words at all. But I write that down. And then I'll go and I'll cook dinner at night when people cook dinner. And I'll think of something else and come back. And then I'll find that, the thing that I thought of in the shower combined with one of the things that I thought of in those first 20 words coalesce into something that I find humorous, because that's what usually drives my work is humor. But if you're Christopher Nolan, you're not going to look for the most humorous idea. You're going to look for like the most mind-breaking idea possible. Or if you're someone else, you're going to think of something else that excites you. Yeah, I think that part, finding the taproot / trunk, is really the most subjective. So we have a question from Alicia. That's a question every time.
So ask it.
We have a question from Alicia Reese. Did you match your outfit and background to Nice Moves? Alicia, do you want to answer that one?
No.
She says no, but I think she did spend a lot of time, kind of making sure all the decor back here is nice.
I didn't make the dresser blue and your shirt red.
She says it's not her fault that the dresser's blue and my shirt is red, which is true. That's very true. Let me scroll up because I didn't look at chat at all while I was talking. Apparently Maxon had a live event as well that you can check out on their YouTube page. Yes. Daddy Gamer noticed that the tree is a brain. Eh? I had originally drawn it as just a tree, and I was like, wait, this kind of looks like a light bulb. And I drew that. It looked bad. So then I was like, wait, the top of this tree kind of looks like a brain. And that's kind of how it works sometimes. You start in the roots. You have a tree. And you're like, what if light bulb? What if brain? What if? And then I drew a brain sideways, and that looked too weird. So I did the brain on top. You see? How do you get out of an idea block when you're having a hard time coming up with ideas? Asks Lindsay Seichter. So that's what this whole thing is about, really. That's why you start with a seed, something extremely generic, something that you're feeling at the moment. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed, your seed could be overwhelmed. Done. You've got the first step done. And I feel like that is a major thing when trying to get through an idea block or a creative block of any kind is work through it, because you're not going to. I came up with this idea tree to dispel the myth that ideas just happen. That's what this slide is about. This is not how ideas work. It's not that, oh, I have a bad tree. It's that there is a process for coming up with ideas, no matter how stuck you might feel. So, yeah, like with desk size, I looked down at my freaking desk and I was like, that's a seed of an idea. Desk. Or her mother's eyes was born from a conversation that Alicia and a couple of our friends were having about a plant hospital. So then the seed was plant hospital. And then what does that look like when it goes to the roots? Does it look like an emergency, or are you going for a normal visit? Is a plant going for dialysis? You just write all these things that can relate to that. So I hope that answers your question. And Lindsay, full disclosure, is one of our interns at Motion 504. And I think when we asked her to do some early concepting work, and I think you came up with an idea. I'm going to say it here for you. So this is copyright Lindsay Seichter, 2020, Plants with Pants. That's her idea. And she told us she came up with it because she saw plants on her desk. And pants rhymed with plants. There you go. Boom. That is your seed. And then you go to the roots. What does plants with pants mean? Which, see, I'm like I still laugh at that idea. So if we go plants with pants, are we thinking that you would show different kinds of pants or different kinds of plants? Or is it walk cycles with different kinds of pants? Does a cactus wear skinny jeans? What would that look like? What would it look like if a cactus wore, cargo shorts? I don't know. And you're not going to know until you get to the branches. That's like step page 8 is actually step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's step 5. So I think one thing that blocks a lot of people from seeing their ideas through is thinking like, oh, I don't know how this is going to look, or I don't know if I can pull this off. And you need to learn that you don't have to worry about that right now. You can worry about that later. You just get the idea, you get that trunk, that huggable trunk, and go from there. We have a question from Sketchy Natalia. Do you tend to have the fruit stick to its roots? What if your apple tree grows an orange? That is a very good question. So basically your question is, what if you have built this amazing trunk and you've grown these amazing branches? Excuse me, I'm getting a little dry. And then you get to here and you find, or you actually get to here, I feel like, and you find that one of your fruit is not like the others. So what I would do then is cut off that fruit, quarantine it from the other fruit, harvest its seeds, and use that as a seed for a new tree. Um, because just because you have an idea and you don't carry it through doesn't mean you can't save it for later. Is that what you were asking, Sketchy Natalia? While we wait for that, Zach Katara asks, when brainstorming, do you stick mostly to written words or visual inspiration and mood boards? I urge you to stick to written words because ideas, very huggable ideas that people can relate to, they live in words. Um, if you can not explain your idea to somebody who cannot see it, then your idea is useless to them. Let's say you're on a train that is going through a tunnel and there's no internet access, no cell phone service. So you're stuck on this train with this person and they're like, oh, you're an animator? What are you working on? And you go to pull up your visual boards or your website or whatever and it doesn't work. What do? You're screwed. You just leave that train car with your head hung in shame. No, you learn to use your words. You tell them, hey, I can't show you this thing right now, but let me tell you about it. And if you can get someone excited about your idea through words alone, then when they see it, it's just like, I don't even have a word. Is there an emoji for this emotion of like, oh, it just blows my mind? Because you're gonna. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I do not ascribe to that when it comes to coming up with ideas, because words are so powerful. I mean, look at people still read the freaking Odyssey, and there's no pictures in that. People still talk about minotaurs and the other things that are in the Odyssey. Sirens. Yes, I know things. Um, so if you can read those things and it sparks this imagination in you, when you are able to spark that imagination in someone else, it's going to get them really excited for whatever it is you're working on. They're just going to salivate over what it is you have to show them. I will be honest and say that sometimes I explain my ideas to Alicia and she stares at me blankly and walks away. and I was like, what, how am I supposed to read that? She's not even looking at me right now. So maybe I value words because I'm not very good with them. And yeah, it might be a personal bias, but use your words. Geraldine Tilk asks, when do you know when to stop the idea? When is the idea good enough? That is extremely difficult to know. I usually give myself a deadline. Like Hellivision, that is the best deadline I've ever had in my life. We got 2 staff picks from stuff that we made for Hellivision, and I joke with Peter that we owe him 2 staff picks because without those deadlines, those animations would not have been completed. I'm working on something now, um, detached, that has been floating around in my brain for 3 years. And I started animating it in earnest in January this year. But without that deadline, it's kind of just floating there still. But that kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier in the evening about how we always have these like external measures of success and external measures of completeness. Um, so that's where deadlines was like, that was my external excuse to finish something. Whereas now, with no deadlines looming, I have to put that deadline on myself. It's I have to determine what's going to be best for the film, mixed with what's going to be best for my mental health. Because if I decide it has to be done in 3 months and it has to be a 10-minute thing, but I also have work and other obligations, I'm gonna go nuts. I'm gonna lose it. So there's a lot of internal things you have to ask yourself when it comes to, is this done? And there is no one answer for that, unfortunately. The big smile means I've run out of things to say, and we've run out of questions in the chat. Um, so I'm gonna move on to the last portion of this evening's programming, which is to say that. Oh, pause. Put a pause on that. We have a question from Kimiko Straub. What if you have a seed and roots but can't find a tap root to turn into a trunk? That is a very good question. What if you have all these scraps of ideas and you can't see how they come together to form one solid idea? And unfortunately, my answer is you got to practice. You got to do it again. And
Hmm? Sometimes when a tree is grown with more than one trunk, growing up, you have to pick one. You just pick one.
Do you want
to? Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to defer to the plant expert, Alicia Reese.
So when you're growing a tree, a lot of trees need like one leader that heads towards the light, and sometimes what'll happen is like during a storm or something, like that leader will get stunted, and so it's really hard for the tree to know which one is the leader, and so you'll end up with like 2 or 3 trunks coming out on a tree that isn't adapted for that. And so your job as the person who cares for that tree is to pick one, and you can look at it and try to assess which one is the strongest one, but at the end of the day, the best choice you can do is just pick one. Just pick one and run with it. Like, cut the others down and just focus on that one, because otherwise you'll wait too long and none of them will be strong. The end.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that's a great answer. Because the thing is, if you go down one route and it doesn't work out for you, you still have the other route that you can come back to later. Like I said, there's no reason to not save an idea for later. I've been trying to pitch clients on this jungle idea for like 4 years now. Nobody's picked it up. Don't know why. It's a great idea. Your product is like the safari guide that leads you through the jungle until you see the light and you get out safely. How's that? How is not every company jumping on that? I don't know. But yeah. Oh, one thing I should say is that you've heard of bad seed, where it just doesn't work and you can't grow a solid tree from it. I don't think that applies to ideas. I don't believe that there is any bad idea. Um, there are there can be extremely poor branches. The leaves can be dying before they even start to grow. The fruit can taste awful, truly terrible, but the seed is never bad. And by that I mean you can base you can create, you can find, discover a strong trunk from any seed. Any seed is capable of doing that. Uh, there's this idea in stand-up comedy that plain jokes are dead. Every single joke has been told about an airplane ever. The peanuts, the pretzels, the airport security, everything's been done, but every once in a while you hear a new plane joke and it's really funny because there's no such thing as a bad seed when it comes to ideas. It just depends where you take it. Okay.
That's 2 puns in a row.
I think that is a good place to wrap it up. And I was going to try to post this PDF to the site tomorrow, but you all have raised really, really great questions that I feel like need to be incorporated in this thing. So it might take me a week or two to upload it. Maybe I'll upload this PDF with a caveat that it's going to be updated in 2 weeks. So yeah, I have to give myself a deadline or it's not going to get done. Because I'm really grateful that you all were here to ask these amazing questions. And I hope the idea tree is a good process for everyone that can, spark some internal projects that really drive you, because it's always the self-driven projects that have gotten me, Alicia, Flora and Fauna our biggest successes, because those are the ones that excite us the most. So come up with ideas, be excited about them, and harvest them. All right, so we moved on to the final portion of this evening's program, which is me saying goodbye. And I don't just mean tonight. I mean, in January, I will be saying goodbye to Nice Moves. January marks the 5-year anniversary of when we founded Nice Moves. Alicia's giving a somber nod. And, we've done a lot of great things. And like I mentioned earlier, I know there's things that I personally could have done better. But I think it's time for me to hand it over to people that are still excited. I'm trying not to sound too dour, but I'm talking about this tree and how exciting the trunk has to be. You have to want to hug the trunk, and I don't know if I can hug Nice Moves anymore. Nice Moves has grown out of the reach of my hug. That's really what it is. It is becoming bigger than what I'm capable of handling, honestly. There's a lot of great people involved that will continue Nice Moves forward in ways that I won't expect and you won't expect, certainly. Um, there is some really exciting stuff that I can't talk about yet because it's too early. But yeah, it's gonna be sad. But you know, I I looked internally and I found that it's time for me to be done with Nice Moves. It's been great. I feel like I'm repeating myself by saying it's great, but I'm also leaving. It's it's really hard to
We
say.
always planned on moving on and passing it on.
Yeah. We Alicia and I had always kind of planned on building something that we could pass on to other people, and it's time. It's time. It's time to harvest the fruit and give it to someone else to enjoy. Uh yeah. So, I think with that, I'll be saying, oh, let's end on a positive note. Next month, he hasn't confirmed 100% yet, but we'll have Josh Close um, presenting what it was like to work with Activision Blizzard. I worked with Josh at Make, and he left to go to New York. He worked at some really cool places like Frame Store, and then he got a 6-month gig at Activision Blizzard to do um, some visual effects for uh, Diablo 4's release trailer, and for World of Warcraft. I don't know why I blanked on those names. World of Warcraft's latest trailer. So that's going to be super exciting. And in October, hear me out, everyone. I've really missed the interactive, in person portion of these monthly meetups. It's been kind of strange to sit here and talk to you all through a camera. So in October, I want something a little more interactive. I want all of you to send in your horror stories from animation. I want your emails. I want your video of you talking about your horror story. I want your DMs and telling me that you want to stay anonymous, but there's a thing that you really have to talk about in the horror stories. So I want it to be Halloween themed horror stories about animation. It can be anything. I will say, if you want to stay anonymous, everyone else involved in the story will also be anonymous. I think it's just fair. So yeah, we'll post more details about that on Facebook and Discord soon. Oh yeah, I shouldn't sign off without plugging our Discord. Sign up for that. Subscribe, like, and is there anything else I should plug before I go? I believe that is all. Instagram, of course. Instagram.
Subscribe.
So yeah,
We've got 90 subscribers. We need 10 more.
we need 10 more subscribers to YouTube in order to get that custom URL, baby. Okay, I'm going to make a thing real quick, and I'm gonna say goodbye.